Another interesting thing that I figured out or learned is about HIV tropism, and it refers to the cell type in which HIV virus infects and then begins replicating it. And that, I have a feeling, gives you the various forms of like really bad diseases like HIV or smallpox or the bubonic plague, because they all seem to be related to the same like gene, which is the CCR5 gene. And yesterday in the video I mentioned the CCR1 gene. It can HIV can have like various like subtypes, because I guess you have various different cells in your body, and depending on which type of cell, like is it affecting the ones in your liver first, or in your blood, or you know, in your kidneys, it's just, or in your prostate, or in your chest. It can be various areas or cells in your skin. Is it one of your skin layers? It can be various different types of cells that make up an organ system, and whichever one this organ system is affected first, and whatever type of cells it may or may not contain, that determines what type of strand or HIV tropism you have. And I think that determines, I'm not sure, but I think it determines then what type of like disease or sickness you would then have. But in 2018, there was this like Chinese doctor, Jinaku, I don't think I'm saying this correctly, and I apologize if I'm not. He was a biophysicist in China, and he apparently, I read like through his stuff, altered the CCR5 gene, because one of the parents or both had like HIV, and he then used them essentially as an experiment and altered the gene, the CCR5 gene, inside of the embryos. Or it was like against the law if you had HIV to get IVF treatments in China, according to what I read. And the HIV couple was recruited through a Beijing HIV advocacy group. I guess that's how they were found. But then in like 2018, two like twins were born. Their name were Lulu and Nana, and I guess they didn't have HIV, and they were actually resistant against HIV. But the thing comes in, they are only resistant against, you know, this one or two or whatever type of strains he programmed into their embryo, essentially, that the parents had. And the reason I mentioned this is the various cells within the body that can get infected, or the HIV tropism that can alter, and it can make you resistant to not some types of HIV strains, but it can help against other types of HIV strains. And clearly this experiment was kind of done in secret. It clearly came out in public in around 2019, which is right when these shots started and this other big major thing on TV everywhere. And it's kind of ironic, because whatever this individual who created these twins who were HIV resistant, I believe this doctor used the CRISPR-Cas9 gene editing technology, and I believe the CRISPR gene editing technology was also used for the shots and whatever what was going on, you know, for the gene editing technology. If you keep reading, it also states, I guess this is from Wikipedia, that there was like, you know, it worked in these twins, but inside of any other example that he did it so it was like he did frame shift editing, which is essentially like 1, 2, 3 error, and it kind of causes like the reaction to not be valid fully, I guess one could say, and it's kind of weird, and I wonder, like, for now does it work, but will it ever have any issues? And the reason that I brought up Lulu and Nana, these babies, and how they were created, is because there is like crazy technology available, and clearly you can edit and splice the human genome, and it seems like, you know, around that time period they completed it all, or the large majority of it, and that human cloning or human alien cloning of sorts would probably become a thing at one point or another soon. Within the next who knows how many years, I'm sure they're going to try to regulate it somehow behind closed doors. Clearly there's already bills getting proposed now, so for 2105, I mean, that's quite a bit of time, but I definitely think there's some crazy stuff out there, and it really makes you wonder. But I hope you guys have a good night. Tell me your opinions about cloning and aliens and all that type of stuff, and what type of rules you think should go into play if for some reason something like that were to happen one day, because you never know, might already be happening right in front of you, right in front of everybody, and nobody knows. But I hope everybody has a good night, and I'll be seeing if I can find anything more interesting.